Hey guys, so this is day 2, and I figured I would come on and tell a little bit more about what led me to be here. So I think it's really important for people to realize that for a really long time, I was not at the place I am now. I wasn't at the mindset to where I wanted to get clean and I wanted to be sober and I didn't like being an addict. I'm at the point where I hate the fact that I'm an addict, and that is the main thing I want to change about myself, along with other things, but that's like my main thing right now. That's my goal, is to get off Suboxone. But for a really long time, I didn't care. I think it was up until my surgery and when I ended up almost dying. I think that's when it actually really got to me and like really shook me. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to get me sober, but it was enough to change my mind, which helped along the way. So I'm just going to touch on all of this. I'm going to try to not go too deep into it. I am going to just, I'm going to go into a little bit of detail, but I'm not going to go crazy with it, just so you guys know. All right. All right. So, um, I have some notes to keep me online, but it's hard for me to remember it all. But, before 2 years ago, even after that, I mean, it's really hard for me to say. I mean, for a really long time, I just got high. That's all I cared about. After I had kids, though, I did slow down on partying a lot. I did, like, change things up. I was married. I used secretly, is what I did. I didn't tell people. The only people that knew were the people that used with me or really close people that I thought I could trust. Usually those people I couldn't, and they would end up trying to help and make things worse, I thought, when really that's not what was happening. They were trying to help, but at the time it wasn't what I thought was happening. So in my mind, they're people that had told my secret, so to speak. Which, of course, being an addict, you're going to get upset when people tell your secret. You don't want nobody to know. Like, that's your whole world, you know? Like, that's a whole secret world that no one knows about. And it's really hard to be open about that. And for somebody else to tell that secret, it makes it 10 times harder. But you do have to understand that those people do come from love, most of them. And, you know, put yourself in their shoes, which is what I've tried to do with the people that I have thought betrayed me when really they cared. So, now there have been people that have just betrayed me just to betray me. Don't get that wrong, but that's different, you know. Anyways, so yeah, I partied a lot. I did a lot of drugs. I did it literally any drug out there that I could get my hands on for a really long time. I wasn't scared of it. After I had kids, I did slow down. I did watch what I did. That's why I think I got so bad into Suboxone, because it was a safe choice. It wasn't going to kill me like heroin, I thought, and I didn't have anything to worry about, you know. It wasn't meth. It wasn't heroin. I wasn't going to OD on it. It's just Suboxone. Well, come to find out, you can still die from it. You could still have things go wrong if you do it the wrong way. And I did. I was shooting up, obviously. For years, in fact. And I got sick in April of 2016. That year before that is when I went on a binge of like doing speed and meth and stuff. So I don't think people realize, like, people talk about getting Hep C and they talk about getting AIDS and abscesses and all of that from shooting up. I never knew anything about what happened to me until it happened to me. I was really sick. I thought I just had the flu. Everybody around me just thought I had the flu. I was in bed for 2 weeks straight. I went to the hospital twice even. The second time around, they did find out that I had pneumonia, and that's when I was admitted. I was literally there 2 days before that, and they just thought that I was dehydrated and sick. So they gave me 2 bags of fluid and sent me home. 2 days later, I was so sick I couldn't breathe and had to have a ventilator, like, to breathe. So they shipped me to Pittsburgh, which is like the main hospital in PA. And I was there on April 1st. April 7th is when I had my open heart surgery. They woke me up the day before to let me know, because I was in a twilight state. I don't remember any of it. I was told things in between. I do have a photo, actually, of when this happened, and I'm going to post it under this, just so everybody knows. You don't have to look at it. It is hard to look at, but it's a photo of me from when this all happened. And I just think it shows exactly how serious it was, because I don't think people realize. I mean, yeah, it's open heart surgery, but until you see it, I don't think it didn't even hit me, and it was me that it happened to be honest. So, they woke me up, told me I was having open heart surgery. The next day when I went in, I had to write a note. Oh, I didn't have to. I asked for a piece of paper as I was getting ready to go out of the room. And I wrote to my mom, please don't let my kids forget me, on a piece of paper, and handed it to her. Because that was my biggest fear. And, because they were still young. This was 2015 or 16. So, and it's 2018, and they're 4 and 6 now. So, yeah, they were young. Okay, they're still babies. I didn't think they'd remember me. In fact, they probably wouldn't have. So I was terrified of that. And then they took me in. I remember waking up on the operating table, freezing cold, thinking I was dead, because there was nobody around. It was so bright. I was so cold. I was in a lot of pain. This lady came in, and I thought I was talking to her. Here, I never spoke a word. I had tubes down my throat. And then I was out again. 3 days later, I remember them waking me up to pull tubes out of my chest. I have 5 incision lines across my chest, like this way, from the drain tubes they had put in. After that, I had to have tubes put in my back I had fluid around my lungs. So I had to have those put in for a week. All of this from shooting up, because the valve in my heart was pushing infection through my whole body. This whole time I was laying in my bed sick, thinking I was just sick, thinking that, like, I just had the flu. And here I was dying. Literally, I was dying. I had a 40% chance of living after this surgery. And then I had to learn how to walk again. I had to learn how to do everything again. I didn't eat for a while. My throat hurt, and everything was just disgusting. So I lost a lot of weight. My legs were so skinny. I had lost all my muscle. And, yeah, everything was a mess, okay? It was just a nightmare. Nobody wants to go through that, trust me. And, after all of that happened, once I was starting to heal, they had put me in, like, a recovery room. They tried to send me to a, like a nursing home, like a rehabilitation place. They ended up sending me to a homeless shelter. And I was on 24-hour-a-day IV antibiotics to keep my infection out of my body. They set me up right in front of, like, drug dealers. And I was allowed to go do whatever I wanted. And thankfully, I left that same day. Nobody ever came to hook my IV up. And by that night, I was crying in my bed thinking I was going to die from my infection again. I was terrified. They shipped me back to the hospital, and I had found out that that place was actually a homeless shelter. It wasn't what they had been telling me it was. My husband wasn't allowed to come there. My kids weren't allowed in there. Like, it was a nightmare. I had to do everything on my own there, which would have been fine, but I wasn't even allowed to lift 5 pounds. So I couldn't even have carried, like, a gallon of milk or anything like that. Like, it would have been horrible. And I knew nothing because I was 2 hours away from home. So after all of that, I go back into the hospital. I end up getting put in a rehabilitation home in Newcastle, which is about 2 hours still away from my house. Actually, a little bit longer than where I was before that in the hospital, so I really wasn't wanting to go, but that's where they shipped me. And that's where I found out that I would have to have open heart surgery again. They put a tissue valve in, and I guess tissue valves go bad. Mechanical valves you have to be on a blood thinner for the rest of your life. And I don't, but I will have to have surgery again. So, fast forward a while, I come home May 19th of 2016, obviously, and I relapsed by September. I wasn't there. I came home on pain meds. I was on morphine. I wasn't doing the best. And I had no, support, and I had been losing my mind from all of this. I was on a lot of benzos. I was still on 2 milligrams a day of Klonopin, and then I got back on Suboxone. Was not prescribed them, though, okay? Just so everybody's aware. I was never prescribed Suboxone up until recent. I continued to use... September, I ended up back in the hospital with a blood infection again, because after the first time, it's way more common. In fact, they told me if I ever went back to it, I'd probably die. More than likely. And it scared me for a really long time. And then my addiction just took hold again. And it was all over. There was nothing. I knew I had to stop, but I just couldn't. That part of it was half my addiction. It was half my issue. In fact, I've had no problem coming off of Suboxone since I've stopped shooting up, to be honest with people. In fact, I hate taking them now. So I end up sick several times in between all of that. In fact, there's a prayer page, and it's Prayers for Tori Maxim, I believe it's called. If you guys look at that, it has literally everything I've went through from the beginning. I had friends and family set it up. Well, I didn't. They did it when I was not awake for that first one, and everything is in there. So, yeah, you can check that out if you really want to know exactly what was going on. Literally everything's on there. Because that's how I learned everything when I woke up. I went through and read everybody's comments, everybody's posts, everybody's updates about me, and that's how I found out what was happening with me. What happened, and I was traumatized. I have PTSD over all of it, actually, because this past September, back up a little bit, okay? This past September, I was still using, or no, not this September, guys, not September 2018, September 2017, I was using still. And I got really sick and went into the hospital, and they had told me that I had vegetation back on that valve that they had replaced, and that it had broken off and went into my lungs. And I was getting sick from all of that. So I went to Pittsburgh Hospital for 2 more weeks. They had me on a high antibiotic. I missed my birthday through that part of it. Came home. Within a week, I was very, very sick again. I wasn't using, but I was very sick again. Went back to the hospital. Here, the antibiotics that they had put me on were shutting my kidneys down. I had to be had to go on dialysis. I had to have a kidney biopsy. Yeah, a lot of different things. And I had it in my head in September when I got sick again, because I was still on antibiotics, and I had no idea why I was, very ill. Very ill. As bad as it was in April. And I had it in my head I was dying. I wasn't going to make it. And I had it in my head I wasn't going to live, because my addiction had too strong of a hold on me. Well, I get down there. I find out that it's from the antibiotics. They put me on the dialysis. They still had to have me on antibiotics because I still had an infection in my heart. And I went through a lot there. But in this meantime, okay, of me being sick, vomiting every day, it was just a nightmare. I couldn't eat, going through dialysis, freezing through the whole thing. Through it all, I missed my daughter's birthday, and I missed her first day of school. For her first year of school. Okay? That's what woke me up. That's what pissed me off enough to be like, what am I doing? What am I doing? I'm going to die and miss everything else. What the fuck am I doing? In all honesty. That was when I started my page, and I did nothing with it. I think I did one video on there while I was in the hospital, and I did nothing again with it because I came home, prescribed a Suboxone, taking them, and I don't know. I felt like I couldn't do it if I was still on Suboxone, to be honest. I wasn't coming down off of them. I was taking 2 a day, which is 16 milligrams, okay? That's what they prescribe you at first. That's what I was taking in September when they gave them to me. So I still wasn't ready to get off of them, but like I knew I wanted to come off of them at some point in time. Well, fast forward to like 2 months after that, and we get some crazy news in our family. That's been my motivation. Okay? So that's pushing me to do this. And I'm going to do it. I'm going to do this, guys. But bear with me. Because it's scary for me to even consider. Like, the fact that I'm going to finally be off of them is, like, insane to me. Okay? So, yeah. That's what happened. Sorry, I got a little frazzled at the end. It's just, I'm not at the point where I can talk about that part of it yet. But that has nothing to do with my addiction. So I don't know if I should even be putting it on here yet. But, like, someday that'll be posted. Someday. But, yeah. That's been my main motivation. And I'm going to do this. And I just, sharing all of this. My one last thing before I take my sub and get off of here, because I said I would do it live still, and I didn't do it yesterday because I did it on my first try, and I wasn't going to take double just to do it again. So, I will take it today on here. But before I get off here, I want to say how amazing everybody has been. The comments I've gotten and the responses I've gotten from people, I haven't got one negative thing yet. I know it'll come, but not yet, and it's been great. Like, it's given me such more, like, so much more motivation, and it inspires me to continue to keep going, and hopefully I do reach people and help people. It makes me believe it may actually happen if I continue doing this, and it all goes according to plan. I mean, even if it don't, maybe this will reach somebody, and they'll hear what I went through, and it'll be enough to even, like, scare the shit out of them enough to stop. Because I'm telling you, if you're doing it, there's so many different things, even things I still don't know about, that can happen to you. You don't want it to happen. Alright? Life is way too important. Just ODing on its own is so scary. And I'm not one, like, don't take it the wrong way. Just because I did subs doesn't mean I never did heroin. I used to do a bundle and a half a day for a while there. But it's scary. All drugs are scary. And I thought subs were the safe choice. I'm realizing now. Well, not realizing it now, but, like, I realize there is no safe drug out there, okay? It's just not even a thing. It's just better to be sober, really. And I cannot freaking wait until I can call myself that. Because I don't yet. I might be prescribed Suboxone, but I still don't call myself sober. Not until they're gone. Not until I'm off of them completely. And I know a lot of people will argue that point and say, oh, but you're prescribed, so it's legal, it's okay, you're not using. No. I don't see it that way. Anybody that doesn't take Suboxone, take one. You will be so high, it's not even funny. And you don't want to. That's not what you should be doing. I don't actually mean go out and do it. I mean, it is a drug. It will get you high. Like, that is the same thing as heroin. It's just it's just prescribed is all. And nobody kill me over saying that, all right? Because I know a lot of people don't believe that, but that's just my point on it, and these are my opinions, and yeah, I'll have them, you know? All right, so, oh, I gotta get off my couch. That's slime, by the way, if you don't know. That's slime on my couch. Because my kids are like every other child their age and wants to play with slime. Okay. Okay, so this one's a little longer than the other one. The video I'm talking about. So, wait, where's the video? There it is. There's the half that I'm taking today, okay? They taste disgusting. Alright, so I'm back. I just took my Suboxone. It's gone. I don't take it the right way. You are actually supposed to let it dissolve under your tongue and swallow it and not have anything to drink. I cannot do that, so I let it dissolve for a minute, and then as soon as I start tasting it, I have to swallow it like a normal pill with something to drink. It's disgusting to me, and I cannot handle the orange taste. Alright, so that's the end of this video today, and I will be back on tomorrow. I know it's a weekend, and I said I wasn't going to do weekends, but tomorrow I go down to 2 milligrams a day, which is a quarter a day instead of a half, so I might be on. If not, I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.